of Barbuzaar, Kintu and the Princess of Heaven. This is the story of Kintu, the first man who ever lived, and how he was tested before he could marry the Princess of Heaven. At the end of this story, you will understand why every human being is a mini god. Once upon a time, a very long time ago, there were no people on earth except one man who lived in the present country of Uganda, and his name was Kintu. Kintu had one cow, and this cow was his great friend, but he was very lonely all by himself on earth.
I wish I had some friends I could talk to. Life would be less lonely.
Now, up in the sky, there was a lovely kingdom called the Cloud Kingdom or Heaven for others, and the king of heaven was called Gulu. Gulu had many sons and daughters, and these children used to wait for a rainbow to touch the earth, and then they would slide down it and stay a little while below, playing among the trees, but they couldn't stay long, for a rainbow very soon melts away in the hot sun, and if they had waited too long, they could not have climbed home to the Cloud Kingdom. One day, two of King Gulu's sons, Prince Kaituza and Prince Chilembwe, saw a rainbow touching the earth, and they called to their sister, Princess Nambi.
Come sister, let's go down to the earth. Please do fast, let's not waste time.
Princess Nambi was a very beautiful princess, and she was her father's favorite. She went quickly with her brothers and slid down to the earth on a beautiful rainbow, and the part of the earth the rainbow touched was Uganda. And there they saw Kintu sitting all alone watching his cow graze. At first, they were rather frightened, for they had never seen a man before, but they soon made friends with Kintu and they stayed a long time talking to him.
I'm so glad to have friends now. I've been very lonely here for a long time.
Kintu and Princess Nambi talked for even longer. During their conversation, Kintu realized Princess Nambi had a pure heart and was very down to earth, though she was the daughter of the King of Heaven. Princess Nambi also realized Kintu was surely the man meant for her.
I wish you could stay here with me, Princess Nambi, but who am I to request the hand of the Princess of Heaven?
Do not look down upon yourself because you are a human. You are the mighty Kintu, the first human to ever set foot on the earth. That in itself is an achievement.
Princess Nambi, you are really a wonderful person.
My brothers and I are going back to the Cloud Kingdom very soon, but I will come back again and marry you, Kintu, and then you won't be lonely anymore in this beautiful country.
On their way back home on the beautiful rainbow, Princess Nambi explained to her brothers.
Kintu is kind and generous. I wish to marry him. He is the finest man I've known.
You do not even know the man, how could you promise him such a thing? Besides, you know our father Gulu will never allow you to go away and marry Kintu.
I will go, I promised Kintu, and my father would never wish me to break my promise. I will tell father immediately as we arrive home, and then pack up all my things and go to the earth to live with him forever.
When they arrived back to heaven, they told Gulu all they had done, and Princess Nambi told him that she had promised to marry Kintu and go and live on the earth.
Father, you must not let her marry this creature. We do not know what type of person he is at all. He does not eat ordinary food, he drinks only milk from a cow. What type of man is that? I must think over the matter. Now leave me alone.
Meanwhile, the brothers secretly returned to earth and carried away Kintu's cow. They thought that if Kintu lost his cow, he would die of starvation since he drank only cow milk. When Kintu saw his cow was gone, he knew what he must do. He began to gather leaves and fruits of the earth and ate, and he grew stronger day by day. When Princess Nambi found Kintu's cow idling in the fields with her father's herds, she was alarmed.
My beloved Kintu will starve. My brothers have stolen his cow, his only source of food. I must return to earth and see how he is doing.
So, Princess Nambi returned to earth to see what had happened to Kintu. When she arrived, she found him eating berries, so she sat down beside him.
Kintu, please come back with me to the Cloud Kingdom. Your cow is there. We will seize it and return to earth together.
Do you think that is a good idea?
Yes, it is a good idea.
All right, I will come with you, and use this opportunity to meet your father and ask for your hand in marriage.
Together, they traveled to the Cloud Kingdom. When they arrived, Kintu stared in disbelief. People were living in beautiful castles with gates made of gold. The grass was green, the fountains were sparkling, sky blue, and the flowers were enchanting. Kintu had never seen such beauty before.
This is a wonderful place, Princess Nambi. Do you really want to leave all these and follow me to Earth?
Yes, I will leave all these and follow you to Earth, Kintu.
The moment Princess Nambi's brothers saw Kintu and their sister, they ran to their father.
Father, your daughter has brought that creature with her to our heaven. If that is so, then I will test this being, and find out if he is truly worthy of my daughter. But father, why do you even want to waste your time putting him to a test? Just send him back. Everyone deserves a chance. After all, he is the first and only human, he deserves a chance.
So, Gulu, the king of heaven, clapped his hands and ordered his servants to prepare a meal large enough for hundreds. Then, Gulu ordered Kintu to come to his palace. Hours later, Kintu stood solemnly before the king.
I command you to eat every bit of this meal. If you cannot, I will know you are not fit to marry my daughter.
Kintu sat down alone before the feast. After he had eaten and drunk as much as he could, he was at a loss to know what to do with the rest of the food. Kintu was a very righteous man, and as a result, a celestial favor followed him wherever he went. This time again, fortunately, he discovered a deep hole in the floor of the palace, so he turned all the food into it and covered it over with a carpet so that no one could detect the place.
Come take away the baskets, please. I am all done with my meal.
When the servants and the brothers saw the baskets were all empty, they searched everywhere, but they could find no food. News of this accomplishment came to King Gulu, who was very amazed and wanted to test Kintu even more. So he handed Kintu a copper axe.
Take this copper axe and go and get me kindling from the rock, something to set on fire. Plain firewood is of no use to me.
So Kintu went outside, wondering what to do.
What am I to do? If I strike the rock, the axe will surely break.
Bending down to look closely at the rocks, Kintu saw tiny cracks running through each one. With his fingers, he took off pieces of rock and brought them to Gulu. Again, the king of heaven was very impressed and wished to test him even more.
Kintu, take this water pot. Go and fetch me water, but you must bring only dew because I Gulu do not drink water from wells.
Kintu went out to an open grass field. Then he sat and pondered how he could collect dew to satisfy the king of heaven. Finally, he fell asleep. At dawn, Kintu woke up from his sleep and could not believe his eyes. Everywhere he looked, the grass glittered with dew, and more astonishing still, his water pot was full to its brim, so he took the pot to Gulu.
Father, you must see now that the man I love is brave, intelligent and wise. Please allow me to marry him.
Indeed, this man is full of wisdom. But I must test him one last time. Kintu must choose his cow from among the royal herd. If he can find his cow, I will know he is a great man and I will bless your marriage.
This was a more difficult task than the others, because there were so many cows similar to his that he feared he would mistake it and take the wrong one. Suddenly, a bee settled on Kintu's shoulder, buzzing in his ears. He told him,
"Take the cow upon whose back I settle."
The next morning, Kintu went to the appointed place and stood and watched the bee, which was resting on a tree nearby. A large herd of cows was brought before him, and he pretended to look for his cow, but in reality, he was watching the bee, which did not move.
My cow is not there.
A second herd was brought, and again, Kintu said.
My cow is not there.
A third, much larger herd of cows was brought, and the bee at once flew away and rested upon a cow, which was a very large one, and Kintu said,
This is my cow.
The bee then flew to another cow and settled upon her ear,
This is one of the calves from my cow.
and the bee went to a second, and a third cow, which Kintu claimed as the calves which had been born during the cow's stay with Gulu. Gulu was very happy with Kintu's wisdom and courage.
You are truly a wise one. Take your cows, Kintu. No one can deceive or rob you. You are too clever for that.
Then he called Princess Nambi and said to Kintu,
Take my daughter who loves you, marry her, and go back to your home.
Thank you, my king, for trusting me with your daughter. I shall see to it that she never lacks. Her happiness will be my priority, for I love her beyond words.
Then go and be happy.
After granting them his blessing, Guru the King of Heaven further provided the couple with many agricultural gifts, such as bananas, beans, maize, corn, groundnuts, and a hen. On this beautiful day, a glittering rainbow appeared. Kintu and Princess Nambi climbed on the rainbow and were escorted down the earth with a couple of servants from the Cloud Kingdom who carried along their agricultural gifts. After getting married, Kintu and Princess Nambi first settled in Magongo in Buganda, where they rested and planted the first crops on earth. During this time, Kintu and Princess Nambi had many kids, and they lived happily ever after. The end. Tales of Barbuzaar, the Fat Princess and the Hunter. A long time ago, in a faraway kingdom, there was a queen and a king who had three daughters whom they loved above all. The eldest was named Nadila, and she was the prettiest of them all. The second was Malinda, and she was as pretty as her eldest sister. And then lastly was Princess Sade. Well, Princess Sade was also pretty, but she was not pretty enough for society's standards, for she was fat. Because of her weight, everyone mocked her in silence. Even the servants would whisper to each other each time she walked by.
Look at how fat she looks.
I am certain she can finish one cow all by herself.
What are you laughing about?
Nothing, my princess.
We were discussing the weather. Isn't it beautiful today?
Sure it is.
Day after day, Princess Sade would become even more frustrated because of her weight. She had tried all types of remedies to get rid of her excess fat, but none had worked. The doctors had told her that her weight gain had almost nothing to do with her eating habits, but it was greatly due to a hormonal imbalance, and there was nothing she could really do to reverse the situation. All over the land, people secretly referred to her as the hippopotamus princess, and she hated it.
I wish I could drown in a river.
Do not say that, sister. You are beautiful the way you are.
Nadila is right. You say that because you are slim and perfect. You are not in my shoes. Neither of you can understand what I feel.
Time passed, and Sade's eldest sister received the marriage proposal from the most handsome prince of the neighboring kingdoms. Within a few days, she was married. Weeks later, Nadila also received a marriage proposal from a very handsome prince, and within no time, they got married and left, and now Princess Sade was left all alone with her parents.
My princess, do not lose hope. One day it shall be your turn.
Beauty is from the inside, my daughter. Do not look down upon yourself because you have some weight. Not all men love slim ladies. Your husband is out there, and one day he shall surely find you.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Father, for your kind words.
The following months, the queen and the king will try all they can to marry off Princess Sade, for she was past the age at which young girls of the kingdom got married. Unfortunately, none of the eligible royal bachelors were interested in Princess Sade.
Oh, what must we do? Very soon the princess will be too old for all the eligible bachelors of the kingdom.
Patience, my queen. One day, she will surely find her soulmate.
Frustrated, Princess Sade ran away to a nearby forest where she sat underneath a tree and began to sing out her sorrows. I wish I was slim, I wish I was small, I wish I could fly like the birds in the sky. I'm tired of this weight, I'm tired of it all. I wish I was slim, I wish I was small.
You are perfect just the way you are. There is no need to change, my princess.
Who are you and why are you spying on me?
Call me Musa. I am a hunter, and I was resting when I heard you sing with a wonderful voice, and I couldn't help but join you.
Why don't you come out so I can see who I am talking to?
Then the hunter came out of his hiding place. He was indeed a handsome gentleman, and immediately as they looked at each other, they knew they were meant to be soulmates. The days that followed, Princess Sari was happier than ever. Every morning, she would run to the forest to meet with her hunter, and as always, he was there, waiting for her underneath the tree.
You are here.
I told you I will always be here waiting for you.
Musa did not care about Sari's weight, for he loved her just the way she was. Musa's mom was also a very chubby lady, and he had always dreamt of getting married to someone who looked exactly like his mother. Princess Sari, on the other hand, had never received so much attention from anyone, so she cherished every moment both spent together.
Will you marry me?
Yes, I will.
You have made of me the happiest of men. Next week, I shall present myself to the palace and speak to your parents.
I cannot wait, I am certain. They will be happy to receive you.
Well, as in every story, something unfortunate happened. A great epidemic came over the land, and Princess Sari became very sick. Bedridden, Princess Sari could not run to the forest to meet with her hunter as usual. Not knowing what happened, Musa became very worried about the princess and decided to send forth his messenger bird to deliver a message to Princess Sari. Hours later, the bird returned with a message from the princess.
This must be the reason why she has not been coming. I hope she gets well soon.
Though Musa and Princess Sari were far away, they always communicated through the messenger bird. Princess Sari's severe illness had caused her to lose a lot of weight, and with each passing day, she was becoming almost unrecognizable.
Our Princess Sade has lost all her weight.
She has now become as tinny and slim as her sisters.
Princess Sade herself could not believe her eyes. She had become very slim, and as she recovered, her face glowed even more. Everyone was overjoyed, the king and the queen especially.
Now that our princess is slim and most beautiful, we must find her an eligible bachelor right away.
Our little girl has always been a beautiful princess. Whether slim or fat, it doesn't change anything.
Within no time, marriage proposals began to flood the palace. Princess Sade, who had never had so much attention before, was over the moon. Little by little, her ego began to swell up, and soon enough, she completely forgot about her hunter. The days that followed, Princess Sade would not even bother replying to his numerous letters. On and on, Musa would send his messenger bird to the palace, but he never received any answers.
Well, I think this is it for me. Princess Said has surely fallen in love with someone else now that she is slim and sought after by almost all the men of the kingdom. If I truly love her, I must let her be happy, even if it hurts that she will not be with me.
Princess Sade, on the other hand, was living her dream. She could not believe what was happening.
I am far too beautiful for a simple hunter. I will get myself the richest prince, for I refuse to settle for less.
Because of the numerous marriage proposals she had received, the queen and the king urged the princess to choose one of the eligible bachelors. Months after, Princess Sade finally made her choice and went for the wealthiest of them all.
My wedding will be the talk of the kingdom, greater than those of my elder sisters combined.
So, the wedding day was set, and the preparation for the wedding began. Then something happened. Blinded by her ego, Princess Sade had forgotten something. The only reason she had gotten thin in the first place was because of the side effects of her severe illness. Now that the illness was completely out of her body, days before the wedding, Princess Sade noticed she was beginning to swell up. Frightened, she stopped eating. She exercised almost all day, but no matter what she tried, her weight would not stop adding until eventually she regained back her excess weight completely.
No, this cannot be happening. This is a nightmare.
When her husband-to-be saw her upon visiting her the day before the wedding, he immediately cancelled the wedding and ran away. Devastated, Princess Sari cried, and only then did she remember her hunter and wondered what he had become. Stricken with sorrow, Princess Sari went back to the abandoned letter Musa had sent. Back then, she had been too prideful to read, but now things had changed and she was full of regret. One after the other, Princess Sari went over the letters and cried mercilessly.
I have been so foolish. My pride and vanity have made me lose the only man who ever truly loved me. Musa, oh Musa, where are you now? Please forgive me.
And on she cried. Months later, the queen, king, and Princess Sari received an invitation for the wedding of a distant cousin who was getting married to a neighboring prince. Princess Sari had never been a fan of weddings. As a result, she always refused such invitations. But this time, she wished to attend the ceremony, for this cousin of hers was suffering from the same hormonal imbalance problem. And just as Sadi, she was very fat. Once she arrived at the wedding, Sadi immediately recognized her hunter.
Welcome, my king. Welcome, my queen. Welcome, princess. Happy to see you at my wedding.
Then, the prince left to see his bride. Upon returning to the palace after the ceremony, Princess Sari was inconsolable. And though she cried all the tears she could, the deed was already done, and for the rest of her life, she lived to regret her actions. The moral lesson of this story is, you should never forget those who stayed loyal to you through the hard times. The end. Tales of Barbuzaar, the beloved daughter. Once upon a time, there was a very prosperous kingdom. Its king had two queens. One was called Ngwe Konde and the other was called Ngwe Lege. Ngwe Konde was the king's favorite, for she was very beautiful, but also arrogant and deceitful. Despite Ngwe Konde being the king's favorite, Ngwe Lege had a very beautiful daughter named Ilambe, whom the king loved above all. King Raborakinde loved Princess Ilambe so much that whenever he was absent, he left everything under her direction. One day, he wished to go on a long journey. As he was about to go, he gave all the directives on how to govern the kingdom in his absence to Princess Ilambe.
I trust you to be a capable ruler in my absence, my daughter.
While King Raborakinde was away, Princess Ilambe ruled with wisdom and empathy. Her tact and diplomacy attracted the admiration of many who now sought her hand in marriage. Time went on and Princess Ilambe continued in her role, ruling on behalf of the king. This made Queen Ngwe Konde very jealous.
One day, this shall come to an end.
Months passed and news came that the king had passed away. All greatly mourned for their king. Without wasting time, Queen Ngwe Konde proclaimed herself as the king's successor. Following the crowning ceremony, Queen Ngwe Konde sought to get rid of Princess Ilambe and her mother, Queen Ngwe Lege. One day, she decided to send for her best knight.
I want you to take Princess Ilambe deep into the forest and have her killed.
The next evening, the knight took Princess Ilambe deep into the dark forest. The poor girl sensed something was about to happen and started begging for mercy.
Please, great knight, do not kill me. What have I done? In what have I wronged you?
No mercy for you, princess.
The knight seized and dragged Princess Ilambe to the foot of a big tree, tied her to it, and left her to serve as a meal to the wild animals of the forest. Soon after that night had gone, Princess Ilambe attempted to loosen the knots. She struggled for some time, but the knots were hard. Darkness came, and then she became very afraid. Finally, after a long effort, she got the cords loosened but was weak and faint with hunger. Getting to her feet, she began to walk in any direction until at last she fell down the path.
This path, even if it does not lead me to any town, it might lead me to where I can see people.
Following the path, she came straight to a hamlet but was afraid to enter.
Perhaps the owners of this place are enemies to my father.
After a while, her belly rumbled very loudly, and she finally decided to knock on the door. No one opened, so she decided to let herself in. For the second time, her belly rumbled. She had not eaten for a long time, so she headed to the kitchen.
It is not very late, and I am very hungry. I will try to cook something, and I must be quick, for the owners might come and find me and kill me.
So she began to cook. After the pot had boiled, she took out a little of its contents and began to eat hurriedly. Once she was done cooking, she got clean dishes, put the food into them, and set them on the table. She also fixed the beds and dusted the furniture. Then she went out of the hamlet and hid herself in the bushes nearby. Soon after she had hidden herself there, the owners of the house came by. They were carpenters. They entered their house, and on the table there was food that was still warm.
Who has done us this good thing?
They looked around the house and in the backyard, and no one was there. So they all settled on the table and began to enjoy their meal.
Tomorrow we will find out the person who has done this. If it is a man, he shall become our brother. But if it is a woman, then none of us shall marry her. She shall be our sister.
At night, she did not enter the house, but fell asleep in the bushes. The next morning, the carpenters said amongst themselves,
Let's go to work, but we must return early. Perhaps we might be lucky to find out who this person is.
So, they went to their work, and as suggested, they all returned early on this day. Princess Ilambe was busy serving food on the table when they came in.
Please do not kill me.
Do not fear, my lady. You have done us no wrong. Who are you? And how did you get here?
I am Princess Ilambe, daughter of Queen Ingwelege. Queen Ingwekonde tried to kill me, but I managed to escape. I walked through the woods until I came across your house. I am so sorry for entering without permission. I was so hungry, so I came in and made some food for myself.
So you are a princess?
Yes, I am. Please do not send me back. I can cook and keep the house clean for you. Please just let me stay.
All right, from now on you are our sister. We'll take good care of you.
Indeed, they took good care of her. Moreover, the carpenter's house had never been so clean before. They loved having Princess Ilambe live with them. Every morning, as they left for work, she would wave them goodbye. When they came back, lunch was already waiting for them at the table. While this was taking place at the palace, great news had arrived. The king whom all believed to be dead had returned. All were full of excitement. At last, the king learned about the loss of Princess Ilambe. For days he cried and cried until he could cry no more.
I should have gone with you, Princess Ilambe. I failed you.
You shouldn't blame yourself, my king. No one knew this would happen.
Queen Ngwelege also had never been able to forget about the loss of her daughter. With every passing day, the king missed his daughter even more and saw himself drawing closer to Queen Ngwelege as both shared the same sorrow. Queen Ngwekonde, of course, did not like this, but before she could even think of a plan on how to stop the situation from going any further, a soothsayer informed her that Princess Ilambe was still alive.
No, this cannot be. I must bring an end to this once and for all, before the king realizes that his daughter is still alive.
Immediately, Queen Ngwekonde transformed into a bat. and went all over the kingdom, hunting down Princess Ilambe. At last, she found her, and this time she planned to kill her for good. One day, as the carpenters were leaving for work as usual, they warned Princess Ilambe.
Lately, we have been seeing a bat roaming about at noon. Be careful to always keep the door closed at that time.
Thanks for the warning. I will keep the door closed.
Princess Ilambe followed the instructions given to her by the carpenters and always kept the door closed at noon. One day, the carpenters went to work as usual, and the evil bat came at an unusual hour and met the door open. Getting in, Queen Gwekonde regained her human form. As soon as Princess Ilambe saw her, she screamed for help, but no one could hear. Immediately, the evil queen blew forth a green potion towards her. As soon as Princess Ilambe inhaled the evil potion, she fell to the ground. Coming closer, the evil queen took advantage of her state and slid a poisonous pumpkin seed down her throat, which instantly rendered her lifeless.
Finally, I am done with you.
When the carpenters returned from their work, they found the princess lying on the floor. They rushed to her side and tried to revive her, but she had stopped breathing. For the whole day, they cried. The next day, they made a glass coffin and placed her in it, but refrained from burying it, for Princess Ilambe's body looked so lifelike and did not decay.
Oh, she still looks so beautiful. I wish we had come back earlier. Forgive us, princess.
So, together, they carried the coffin up a hill and kept it there. And daily, they went to look at her face, which was still very beautiful. One day, the carpenters heard that King Raborakinde had sent forth soldiers to look for the body of his beloved daughter. He wished to give the princess a worthy burial. Upon hearing this, the carpenters presented themselves at the palace and told the king all they knew.
Oh, my dearest daughter, why did I leave you all alone?
Do not blame yourself, my king. No one knew this would happen.
Just as both were crying, Queen Gwekonde came in, not knowing what had happened.
Guards, get hold of her. She is responsible for the death of the princess.
As soon as Queen Gwekonde tried to run away, the three carpenters encircled and blocked her.
You shall pay for what you did to our princess. You evil queen. If I were you, I will simply surrender.
Immediately, she transformed into a bat and tried to fly through the window, but one of the carpenters threw a net in the air and succeeded in capturing her. Finally, Queen Gwekonde was thrown into the dungeon, and though she screamed and yelled for mercy, no one took pity on her. Once this was dealt with, King Raborakinde, Queen Gwelege, along with the three carpenters, headed to the hamlet and then up the hill to see their daughter's body. As soon as the king's eyes met with the beautiful face of his beloved daughter, he placed his hands about her and pulled her towards him. Joining her own hands to the king's embrace, Queen Gwelege and the king squeezed Princess Ilambe so much so that the pressure of their embrace knocked out the poison pumpkin seed out of her mouth. Slowly, Princess Ilambe opened her eyes and looked at her parents.
Mommy, Daddy?
My beautiful daughter, I missed you so much.
Ilambe, oh my dearest daughter.
Oh, the carpenters were overcome with joy when they saw that Princess Ilambe was alive. It was a miracle. From this day on, Princess Ilambe returned to the palace to live with her parents, and the three carpenters were recruited amongst the king's royal escorts. Each was given large hectares of land, and all lived happily ever after. The end. Tales of Barbuzaar. The Princess with the Golden Mask. Once upon a time, in the faraway kingdom, there lived a girl called Anastasia, the daughter of a well-known chef. She was a very pretty girl, and anyone who first came in contact with her was always left in awe of her beauty. It was known to all that Anastasia's mother had succumbed to death on her delivery bed. She had been raised by her father up to the age of 3 when he decided to remarry. Out of this union came 3 other girls named Talisa, Tia, and Tamar. Unlike Anastasia, her stepsisters were not that beautiful, and neither were they as kind either. All they knew to do was to pamper themselves all day long, dreaming of getting married to a wealthy prince so they won't ever have to work. Anastasia, on the other hand, loved to assist her father in the kitchen. He was a well-known chef and had made for himself a good fortune.
When I grow up, I want to be just like you, father.
Thank you, my daughter, you make me proud.
She was indeed his favorite. A few years later, Anastasia's father will pass away, leaving her under the care of her stepmother, Lady Tanya. This will be the beginning of Anastasia's misery. Who cleaned everyone's laundry day after day? It was Anastasia. Who swept the house, mopped the floors? It was Anastasia. Who cleaned the dishes, made everyone's bed, dusted furniture, and made sure food was always ready on the table and on time? It was indeed Anastasia. Life continued this way until one day, a friend of Lady Tanya came to visit.
I can see that Anastasia has been gifted with great beauty. If she ever gets married before your daughters, know that they will be cursed to remain single for the rest of their lives.
Oh no! What must I do?
I know of a lady who can answer that question. Come with me.
So together, they went to see a witch who was known to be very, very powerful. Take this golden mask and find a way to wear it on Anastasia. If you succeed, no one shall be able to remove the mask from her face.
Perfect.
Is there a way for anyone to break the curse?
If someone ever falls in love with her, despite her wearing this golden mask, the spell will be broken. Later that evening, Lady Tanya called Anastasia to her room.
Anastasia, Anastasia, come here for a bit, my daughter.
Intrigued by the calm and soft voice of her stepmother, Anastasia went up to her room, and immediately as she walked in, Lady Tanya firmly pulled her head to the back. Before she knew it, her face was locked into a silver mask. Anastasia cried and cried throughout that night, begging her stepmother and sisters to release her from the golden mask. But it was all in vain. As though this wasn't enough, they had also spread the false rumor that Anastasia had been cursed by a witch as a result of an accident that had deformed her face, so much so that the mere look at her would cause anyone to fall sick. The news became so rampant that everybody believed in this great lie. Over the years, many, if not all, forgot about the great beauty of Anastasia. Because of its constant repetition, Anastasia herself began to believe in this evil lie. Years went by, and a great famine came upon the land. Anastasia was asked to look for a job so she could cater to the needs of her stepmother and sisters.
Go find a job and do not return until you get one.
Days after days, Anastasia roamed about the streets offering her services. She could clean, cook, iron, babysit, and do a lot more. But it was not that easy to find a job in such a hard economy. Moreover, people were not that comfortable offering a job to a girl who wore a mask all day long. Courage and went to the king's palace to offer her services. After doing a good job at selling herself as an excellent cook, she was asked,
I already love the attitude, my daughter. But I must ask, why do you wear a mask? You do not intend to go into the kitchen with that, right?
Unfortunately, I am unable to remove this mask, no matter how hard I try. It is a curse.
What do you mean?
A few years ago, I had an accident that left my forehead with such a severe scar that the mere sight of me caused anyone to feel sick to the stomach. To prevent that from upsetting more people, a witch cast a spell on me, and from that day on, I was cursed to carry this mask on for the rest of my life.
After listening to her story, Mother Anaika took pity on Anastasia and offered her the position. Anastasia would usually work throughout the week and go back home over the weekend to bring some food and money to her stepsisters. After a month or two, Anastasia had seduced everyone with her delicious meals. Not only were the cooks in awe of her diverse meal recipes, but even the queen, king, and prince began to comment on the varieties of the menus and how delicious they tasted. So this went on and on until one day, the king asked his main cook to bring in the person who was responsible for cooking all the delicious meals they had been enjoying for months now.
Such a great cook has to be rewarded.
I agree with you, my king. They need to know how much we appreciate them.
Father, why don't we offer the cook a house?
I like the idea, my son.
And as they were going back and forth on how best to recompense their favorite cook, Anastasia was brought in, and all of a sudden, they all went silent.
Why do you have a mask on, my daughter?
A few years ago, I had an accident that left my forehead with such a severe scar that the mere sight of me caused anyone to feel sick to the stomach. To prevent that from upsetting more people, a witch cast a spell on me, and from that day on, I was cursed to wear this golden mask for the rest of my life.
A cold silence followed as they all continued staring at Anastasia.
Is there not a way to reverse the curse?
Unfortunately, none that I know of.
Regardless, you are a great cook, my daughter.
Thank you, Your Majesty. I took after my father. He was a great cook, and he taught me all he knew.
And on they went, talking about her father, then proceeding with questions about her family and much more. Anastasia was very well spoken, with good and polite manners. The king, queen, and prince found it enjoyable to converse with her. Despite her faint timidity, she carried with her a lot of confidence and a great personality. Anastasia was rewarded with a house as a result of her devoted services as the king's cook. Both sisters and stepmother were very happy to live in a brand new home. Things went on this way until the cooks began to realize how often the prince would come down to the kitchen, something that wasn't quite usual.
I think he loves you.
Me? You are surely mistaken. It cannot be.
One day, he shall take his courage and speak to you.
Just as Mother Anaisa had predicted, on that very day, the prince invited Anastasia for a walk. during which he made known to her his intentions.
I would like to ask for your hand in marriage.
Me?
Yes, Anastasia. I have fallen in love with you since the first day.
Remember, I was cursed because of my ugliness. Why would you want to marry someone like that?
I have not forgotten what you told me, Anastasia. But I have fallen in love with your heart and your vibrant personality.
The prince, known to be a man of his word, did not waste a second. As soon as Anastasia agreed to his proposal, he asked for his parents' blessings, which they granted. The following week, he went on to visit Anastasia's stepmother and sisters, bringing with him countless number of presents. Immediately as both sisters learned of the reason behind the prince's visit, they fell to their knees. As you could imagine, what followed next was a series of tears, mourning, and bad-mouthing.
No, you have to marry one of my daughters.
I'm a better fit for you, my prince. You can't marry her. What about me, my prince? You cannot marry Anastasia. No.
And on they went, but nothing they did or said could change the prince's mind. Finally, the wedding day arrived. Anastasia's stepmother and sisters refused to show up. Nevertheless, the wedding went on. Then came the time of the exchange of vows, and the moment Anastasia heard the prince say, "I do," the flow of emotions got hold of her, and in no time, tears began to roll down her cheeks. Tears of joy, of course. And as soon as her tears touched the ground, they changed into crystals, which in turn molded together to form a key. Getting to his knees, the king grabbed the key, and just like magic, he was able to release Anastasia from her golden mask. The curse was broken. With the golden mask off her face, Anastasia's beauty was finally revealed.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
Indeed, she is the most beautiful princess I know of, and I am lucky to have her walk next to me.
With the curse broken, and your lies and treacheries now revealed, Princess Anastasia's stepmother and sisters had no hope. The king had asked for them to be cast into the dungeons as a repayment for their evil deeds.
Mercy. Please, my king.
But what they did to you was inhuman, Princess Anastasia.
Maybe it was, but I believe it all worked together for my good.
Okay, they shall not be cast into the dungeons, but from now on, they shall be left to fend for themselves, and no man is allowed to ask for their hand in marriage.
For the rest of their lives, shame and regret became their only friends. While at the palace, Anastasia was living her happy ever after. The end. Tales of Barbuzaar. The Legend of Princess Yenenga. A long time ago, there was a beautiful, prosperous kingdom ruled by a West African king known to all as Nedegia the Great. King Nedegia had a young and beautiful daughter. She was a beloved princess. Her name was Yenenga. Princess Yenenga was not the typical princess. She was brave and remarkably skillful with the spear and the bow. As a better rider than both her brothers and many of the king's warriors. As a result of her bravery, she was allowed to lead her own troops, something that wasn't so common for a girl in those olden days. Over the years, Princess Yenenga will grow into a very beautiful princess. Though she really enjoyed being in her father's army, she also began to long for love and a family of her own. One day, she took her courage and made known to the king how she felt.
Father, do you have a moment?
I can always spare some time for you, Princess Yenenga. What would you like to talk about?
Father, for a long time now I have been thinking I would love to get married.
Married? Really? Your skills as a warrior are of utmost importance to the kingdom. Besides, I have given you everything that is mine. Why would you want to get married?
Father, I would like to have a family of my own and someone to share my life with.
A family of your own and someone to share your life with. What does that even mean? But Princess Yenenga, you have me, my daughter. I am always there for you.
Father, it's not the same. Please try to understand me.
Enough. We shall not have this conversation ever again. You are one of my best warriors. You lead by yourself an entire cavalry. All that I have is yours. This should make you happy enough, Princess Yenenga.
Cutting her off, the king walked away. Despite his firm refusal, Princess Yenenga continued pleading with her father for him to change his mind. But it was all in vain. One day, Princess Yenenga had an idea. Early one morning, she decided to plant a large field of wheat closer to the palace. So proud of the agricultural prowess of his daughter, King Nedegea boasted about this achievement to all he knew. When the wheat grew, instead of harvesting it, she let it to rot and die.
Princess Yenenga, but why did you do that?
You see, Father, you say I am precious to you. You tell me I am the most important person in your life. Yet, you let me rot like the wheat in this field.
I told you we shall not have this conversation ever again. Do you understand?
Outraged, King Nedegea decided to lock up the princess. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Yet, the king's anger wouldn't go away.
Father, why? All I ever wanted was to have a family of my own, like any girl of my age.
Very sad about what had happened to the princess, the king's husband took it upon himself to help her escape. Getting to her cell, he gave her men's clothing so she could disguise into a man.
My princess, you must go now.
I will miss everyone, and Father even more. I love him so much. How did we ever get to this point?
Sometimes in life we don't get to choose what happens to us, but we always get to choose how we react to it. What do you want, princess?
I want to be free.
If that is what you want, then go now.
I will forever remember what you have done for me. Again, thank you.
As they arrived outside, he also gave her back his stallion. Princess Yenenga rode on northwards alone. At one point in her journey, she had to cross a river. After using her stallion to withstand the strong currents of the river, she became so exhausted. Princess Yenenga rode slowly into the forest until she found an elephant hunter whose name was Rial. Not knowing she was a woman, the elephant hunter offered her shelter.
Come in, brave soldier. I have a big home and I can offer you shelter until you are back on your feet.
Thank you very much. How can I reward you?
No reward is needed. Please have some rest.
Again, thank you.
For the following days, Princess Yenenga will stay with Rial. Most of the time, he was absent. But a few times that he was around, he took great care of her and made sure she had everything at her disposal. As a result, she was able to get back on her feet sooner than expected. Moreover, Rial had seen through Yenenga's disguise, and he now knew that she was a woman. but he decided to keep it for himself until she felt confident enough to tell him. After several months of staying with Rial, Princess Yenenga saw that he was a good man and finally decided to reveal to him her identity. One day, as he was getting ready to go on a hunt, she followed him.
Rial, I need to tell you something.
Go ahead. What do you wish to tell me?
I am sorry, for I have hidden from you my true identity. My name is Yenenga, Princess of the Kingdom of Dagomba, and daughter of King Nedegea the Great.
Are you the great warrior princess we have been hearing about? News of your courage and bravery has traveled into my kingdom.
Indeed, it is me.
If I have to be honest with you, I also have a confession to make.
What confession, Rial?
I am a prince. Most of the time, I get too tired of royal duties and prefer to hide myself in this place. Most of the people around here know me as Rioli the elephant hunter and treat me as a normal person. I like it this way.
I understand what you mean. I sometimes felt that way too. Many at times royal duties or life itself gets too monotone.
With all truths now revealed, Princess Yenenga and Prince Rial could freely express what they felt for each other. Within no time, the prince asked for her hand in marriage, and she gladly said yes to the proposal. Finally, they got married. A year later, the couple will have a son named Rodrigo. When Rodrigo will turn into a young boy, Princess Yenenga will send him to the kingdom of Dagomba to meet with his grandfather. Immediately as King Nedegea saw Rodrigo, he was overjoyed as he had been searching for Princess Yenenga for years now. King Nedegea will go on to organize a sumptuous feast, inviting Princess Yenenga, Prince Rial, and Rodrigo.
I missed you so much, my daughter. I'm so sorry for the way I treated you. Please forgive me.
Oh, father, how I missed you. I am so sorry for running away.
I do not blame you, my princess. I blame my own hardened heart. But time has taught me well. Because of your courage to stand up for what you believed, you now have the wonderful family you always desired.
Once and for all, King Nedegea's family was reunited. Like in all fairy tales, Princess Yenenga was able to make her dream come true and lived happily ever after with her much desired family. The end.
Bedtime Tales of African Queens Who Slayed History is a children's illustrated picture book introducing kids to the legendary stories of 31 African warrior queens and princesses. The stories are lovingly written in a fairy tale style, making it easy for every kid to immediately dive deep into the magical and wonderful universe of these extraordinary women who changed history forever. This is a book to learn about the adventures of Africa's true legendary queens. Get your own copy today. Now available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.